Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar, which will provide you with an overview of the inaugural Connected Security Expo. My name is Sherida Sessa, and I'm the Vice President for the ISC events sponsored by SIA. Before we get started, I just want to address a few housekeeping notes. If at any time you have difficulty hearing the webinar, first check the speaker volume on your computer. You can also dial into our conference call line via phone, which is shown in the audio portion of the control panel on the right side of your screen. This webinar is being broadcast live. If you have any questions during the session, you can go ahead and type them into the questions box on the bottom right of your control panel. We will be doing a live Q&A at the end of the webinar, and any technical questions or issues will be addressed immediately by our support staff. Lastly, this webinar will be recorded for future viewing. You'll receive a link to the archived webinar following the event, and you can feel free to forward that to any colleagues that may have missed the session. So now, without further delay, I want to get into the content, and I'm happy to introduce Mr. Don Erickson, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Industry Association, which, as you may know, is the sole sponsor of the ISC event. Don?
Great. Thank you very much, Sherida. And on behalf of the SIA Board of Directors, I want to thank you for organizing this webcast for Christian and for all the work you're doing throughout the year with Ed Several and the entire ISC events team to work with SIA and help showcase the incredible innovation that's found within our industry. So as a leading security technology organization that is proud to count literally thousands of security technology thought leaders from among our membership, we're really thrilled to be a part of this briefing today and, of course, to be the sponsor of the Connected Security Expo itself. In my view, true convergence of IT and physical security is a reality that will be on display in a truly impactful way at Connected Security Expo at ISC West. For example, organizations large and small continue to be focused on reducing cyber threats. Indeed, SIA itself recently established a cybersecurity advisory board to advise our members in the industry about cybersecurity trends and best practices. Moreover, as Christian will describe, CISOs and cybersecurity practitioners are becoming increasingly aware of the growing role physical security can play in combating cyber threats and helping the businesses deliver on the promise of Internet of Things. Finally, as the pace of technology innovation continues to be blazingly fast, it is vitally important to realize that while technology enables many new and exciting things, standards around those technologies are what truly enable wide-range growth of markets and customer satisfaction. With that in mind, members of the SIA Cloud, Mobility, and IoT Subcommittee will leverage this event on behalf of our membership to continue to explore the impact of the cloud and mobility on physical security and drive a focus on developing cloud and mobility standards for the industry. At this point, I'd like to turn the webinar over to Christian Mary, who will provide you all the information you need to help you get your organization involved. Christian has been leading the launch for this exciting and timely new event that seeks to bring together our industry more closely together. Christian?
Thank you, Don, and thank you to all the attendees for joining us this afternoon. I'm thrilled to have you here this afternoon as we go through all the details around Connected Security Expo. As you know, the event was announced back in September, late September, and it's really a body of work that for all involved with SIA, within the ISC events team, has been going from incubation of an idea to where we are today and getting geared up for the launch in April at ISC West 2016. And so that journey has been a journey of research, a journey of really spending time with the community over the last 18 months. And so we're thrilled to essentially be at the ground floor inaugural level of announcing this event. This event, Connected Security Expo, will be co-located with ISC West in April 2016. And really the focus of the event and the motivation of the event is driven by what's happening in our industry, in the security industry. It's driven by really what's going on in terms of increased and continued cyber threats, as well as the advancements that are coming our way in terms of supporting the promise of Internet of Things. So the goal of the event is to essentially drive that conversation for chief information security officers and Director of IT Security, and really position to them an educational track, a thought leadership track, a collaborative discussion, as well as innovation and technology around bringing to life physical security from an IT security lens. Really, there's been a lot of change that's been going on in terms of the evolving role of CISOs and chief security officers. And so part of that dialogue is as much about people and process at this conference-led event as it is about technology. And so what does it mean from a team perspective, from a reporting structure perspective, from an impact in terms of security at the board and at the corporate level? These are things that will be explored and discussed in context of the conference-led event. And then last but definitely not least is, again, the Internet of Things, and so the notion of closing the gap between security and IoT. And it's really a perspective on how an organization can leverage physical security as an asset to, on one end, combat cyber threats and cyber crime, and then on the other end, really take advantage of deploying the business value that's going to come out of Internet of Things. From a timing perspective, the event, again, will occur, and I know many of you have participated at ISC West and know the layout of the Expo floor. So this event will be co-located, same date, same time, separate event targeting CISOs and Director of IT Security, and will take place on the show floor in the first level, essentially behind the registration area that you're typically accustomed to attending every year. Behind that registration area, there's an expo floor that will be dedicated to Connected Security Expo. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about, why now and what's driving this launch in terms of really positioning the event into the marketplace, because it is a fairly unique event. It's a unique perspective, and it's driven by what we're seeing in the market. So REIT Exhibition, from a security portfolio perspective, as some of you might know, has a deep reach globally in terms of facilitating, engaging, and driving the conversation with security practitioners. Year to year, security portfolio from the REIT group essentially touches 70,000 plus security practitioners worldwide, 99% of Fortune 100 brands, and 1,500 plus security exhibitors annually. And so what we see in being part of the security industry, being part of that dialogue month to month, we've seen a variety of changes take place in our industry in terms of what we're hearing back from CISOs, from CSOs, from CIOs, from Director of IT Security and physical security professionals. And we get this through the conference schedule. We also have conducted focus group based on really an interesting trend that materialized and started to increase 2 years ago at ISC West, which is an increase in number of cybersecurity professionals attending the physical security show and event. And that's really driven by a variety of market conditions that have shifted over the years. And so in digging deeper and spending time with CISOs and cybersecurity professionals at the IT Security One-to-One, which I know some of you attend, in having focus groups and really spending time with the cybersecurity professionals that attend InfoSecurity Europe, which is a large, substantial event for that audience. What we've seen is a continued focus, as we all know, in 2014, 2015, cybercrime is front and center across all verticals. Breaches continue to happen and have deep impact. And so with that, cybersecurity has shifted from what used to be an IT-specific risk to becoming a boardroom agenda. It's really considered a corporate risk issue. And chief information security officers are increasingly being tasked in forward-thinking organizations to really take a more active role in terms of helping their organization make sense of a more connected world. And as part of that, the relationships that they have with physical security, their engagement in cross-responsibility across physical security has really driven them to start to see physical security as a tremendous asset in combating cyber risk. And so increasingly in the last 2 years, more and more CISOs and their cybersecurity team have engaged and joined their physical security peers at events like ISC West. And so what we wanted to do in terms of 2016 through Connected Security Expo is give them that platform to really learn, engage, collaborate, discuss with their peer, learn from the early adopters, and dig deep around issues of people, process, and technology. And expose what is also happening is that with Internet of Things, while there is great promise, there's also, as we all know, tremendous risk in terms of increasing the threat matrix. And so IoT is also seen as an accelerator in terms of blending physical and cybersecurity. And so having engaged with many of you on the call and your peers in the vendor community, we're starting to see these messages of from a technology, from a solution providers, starting to appear on different events and in different conversations in terms of a blending of physical and cybersecurity solutions. So with that, one of the key slides that I want to share with you here is just from the perspective of physical security, and I know you're all in this industry, you're living it, but there has been tremendous change in our security industry from a physical security perspective in the last decade. You know, as we mentioned here in the slide, the first beachhead has been really, in terms of this collaboration, increased dependency between physical and logical. The first beachhead was essentially physical security system becoming IP network, and with that, a slew of activities has really come to market in terms of, from an offering perspective, video surveillance, monitoring, the analytics and intelligence and pattern detection layer, the ability to have a managed service. So there's been tremendous forward movement in terms of the value of physical security systems for an organization and the data that gets generated. Similarly, in intruder alarms as a category, there's been quite a lot of industry pickup and in terms of growth and acceleration towards the notion of an industrial Internet of Things and the opportunities that exposes, as well as the reality of these systems becoming more sophisticated, more networked, everything from this notion of wireless networks that can become endpoint sensors for security and the data that gets generated. And then last but not least is, again, access control systems. So for years, we had this notion of physical access control systems, physical access and identity management control systems, and logical access management system. And so what we're seeing now is there's been an evolution, as you all know, as you all live it every day, in terms of the technology and the value that physical access control systems bring in context of video surveillance systems, but increasingly the value of being able to leverage intelligence and data that comes out of your physical access management system in context of logical access management system. And many of the vendors are innovating in that direction, have solutions on the market already today. So from a perspective of physical, the reality is, from a technology perspective, from a solution ecosystem perspective, the needle has moved very, very fast over the course of the last 8 years. And the reality is physical systems create and deliver tremendous data that can be leveraged in context of cybersecurity threats. The last quadrant, which is the top left quadrant, is really what's happening in terms of the promise of Internet of Things. And that is over the last 5 years, it's gone from really an identified vision and trajectory to solutions that are coming to market and being leveraged by early adopters. And again, so the questions that get exposed in this context of IoT is, how do you leverage both your physical security systems and endpoints as sensors in context of your logical security systems to really deliver the value and the promise of smart cities, of smart buildings, and the notion of smart transportation, really across smart everything. So what we're looking to do essentially with Connected Security Expo initial inaugural year is to really, as you see in this slide, is to have that blended conversation to shine the light of physical security, that lens on physical security from an IT security perspective in support of combating cyber risk and cybercrime and going after really the rapid innovation that's happening within IoT and supporting a security posture in support of IoT. So when you look at this slide, if you consider events in the industry like Info Security Europe or the IT Security One-to-One, the blue dots essentially on this slide, those are typically events that have targeted CISOs in the past in terms of having and facilitating a cybersecurity and IT security conversation. The yellow dot represents the events that have targeted physical security practitioners. And what we're seeing is an increase in a trend of wanting to have that dialogue, wanting to have that bridging of physical and logical in support of the market drivers that I shared with you. And so connected security is really the only place in the industry today with this launch that will facilitate that bridging of conversation and that lens. Now, the decision of where to place the event and where to hold the event was something that was considered and driven by our focus group. The reality is of the 29,000 plus attendees that attend ISC West every year, again, the uptick in CISOs and cybersecurity professionals that are already traveling to ISC West to attend and have that conversation was already happening. And so we have roughly 3,000 already in attendance in the year-to-year that were from a cybersecurity practitioner perspective. And so what we wanted to do is essentially continue to have that thought leadership within the physical security community, have that reach that is provided by SIA, and really the attendance of Fortune 1000 and beyond in terms of organization. You have sampling here that touch every single vertical from SCADA systems to oil and gas to telecom to high-tech sectors. Those sectors to government are already there in attendance, and they're bringing their peers on the cybersecurity side. So for us, it was logical to be able to drive and extend that conversation, give them that platform, and give our vendor sponsors the ability to reach the ISOs and really position physical security systems in context of where the industry is going. So one other point that was clear in the focus groups that we ran was really this desire to experience the technology, the desire to see it in action, desire to get beyond the traditional show floor. So again, this is an early adopter market. There's quite a bit of innovation happening from a technology perspective, from the solution ecosystem. There's a great deal of lessons learned from the early adopters that are tackling people, process, and new deployments of blended and holistic views of logical and physical working together. So the perspective from a conference-led event is how do you carry over the conversations that are happening within the conference tracks and bring them to the show floor and really validate and expose and bring to life the solutions on the show floor. And so what you have is a variety of different immersive experiences that will be taking shape and launching at Connected Security Expo on the Expo Pavilion show floor. We're working with our sponsors to really bring the notion of Smart IoT Pavilion. Again, the idea here is to showcase the technology to bring to life physical and logical systems working together around smart deployments. And so those pavilions will touch different context of solutions, the physical access control system working with logical access control systems, the notion of video monitoring as a big part of it, and bringing to life as well net new solutions, net new providers from the IT, typically the IT security sector, that are innovating and really bringing solutions to life. So that a combination of case studies, visual presentation, and immersive showcases that allow users attendees to really experience it. The innovation stage is a huge opportunity for the sponsors. Again, center stage on the Expo show floor is the notion of being able to provide the sponsors with the ability to take the stage, to get up on stage, to talk about their launches, upcoming launches, and to talk about examples of their roadmap and where their technology is going, and to really bring to life their own thought leadership from a vendor, a solution provider perspective. So this is different than the conference tracks where the perspective is peer-to-peer. The innovation stage is really geared at allowing the sponsors to take the stage and provide product demos, roadmap discussions, and really bring to life their technology for the attendees. Another interesting point is, again, as a badge holder of Connected Security Expo and as a badge Expo holder of ISC West, that we're driving for cross-pollination, meaning that as an attendee of ISC West, you will see messages and marketing that will drive traffic to the innovation stage. The innovation stage, again, will be located at the heart of the Connected Security Conference show floor, at the bottom of the escalators that go from the ISC West escalators upstairs that last year showcased the food court. This year, when you get downstairs, you'll be in the heart of the Connected Security Expo show floor with the innovation stage position there. And then the idea that's been resonating, and it's something that we've done in prior events as well as at ISC West, is the notion of guided exhibit show floors where attendees, based on specific sessions, based on specific topics that they identify as part of the registration, will get pinpointed and guided to explore different solution pavilions within Connected Security Expo. And then really the notion of social mixers. Again, this is all about driving collaboration and thought leadership between physical security practitioners and cybersecurity practitioners. So there is a real opportunity to continue the dialogue in social mixers at different events at the end of the day, including technical breakouts and birds of a feather. In support as well of the interoperability sessions that will be a big part of again, educating the cybersecurity professionals on everything that's happening within the physical security ecosystem, the industry, the interoperability labs that are driven by SIA, and the IoT, Cloud Mobility and IoT Subcommittee. So let's talk a little bit about the conference tracks, and we, being part of this industry really in terms of going out and spending time on a monthly basis with different security practitioners, repeatedly they really want to learn from their thought leaders, from within the community. And so we spend time really identifying an advisory board. You see the gentlemen, the individuals here that are listed, and I'll go through their backgrounds. Some of them are coming out from an IT cybersecurity perspective. Some of them are coming to us from a physical security perspective. And really, the reality is all four are living that tightrope, that essentially that middle ground of seeing the bridging of physical and logical from an industry perspective, from an innovation perspective. And so I'll give you some examples as I walk through their background. So Ed Adams is President and CEO of Security Innovation. He is a Ponemon Institute Fellow. He's founded the Application Security Industry Consortium. He's very active within OWASP. He's on the board of the National Association of Information Security Groups. And he's part of, he's an ambassador, as they call him, of Privacy by Design, which is this notion of embedding privacy and when you're designing an early stage and making sure that privacy is part of it. So as part of his organization, he's also spending a lot of time with Fortune 500 in terms of identifying and tackling their security posture. And they also have a division in terms of connected cars, so and the automotive changes that are happening around IoT. So Ed brings that perspective to the advisory board panel. Jeremy Bircher is a VP of Technology at Diebold. He's very active within the physical security community. He's actually, as As Don mentioned, that the SIA Cloud Mobility and IoT Subcommittee, Jeremy is chair of that committee, which explores again the impact of cloud and mobility on physical security systems and solutions, and really brings a voice to what's happening from an interoperability, from a standards perspective. So that's really important for us in terms of also facilitating that conversation, that education. He's managed numerous large-scale and national and global electronic security deployments for Fortune 500 industry as part of the work that he's done at Diebold. Herb Kelsey is coming to us from, again, a more of an IT security perspective. He's currently the chief architect at Guardtime Federal, but his focus has really been, for the last 20 plus years in enterprise architecture, commercial and government sectors, and he was for many years IBM deputy CTO for cybersecurity, advising the executive and legislative branches of the U.S. government on security matters. So he's got deep background in seeing innovation as it's taken place and driven post 9/11 around security. He's also been a part of the Department of Defense intelligence community for several years now. And last is Godfrey Chua. Now Godfrey brings the analyst perspective to the team, and a variety of insights and research and surveying of what is really driving the industry around IoT. He spent 15 plus years in machine-to-machine industrial internet and really the next generation of mobile technology. So he's been very active in seeing the evolution of what we're calling today the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything. He's a principal analyst at Machina Research with again a focus on network vendors, service providers, financial institutions, government agencies, and solution developers in the communication and IoT space. So he brings that where's the market going, what are the trends, what are the predictions, what are the market sizing in terms of helping us build the conference tracks. All four of them have been very active in really shepherding the conference-led event from a track perspective. So again, from a track, the attendees, again, CISOs, Director of IT Security, Cybersecurity Professionals, will spend 2 days in conference. There are two tracks, people and process track and a technology track, and then there are 4 categories total in terms of content, educational content and material. That's coming to us both with the help of PSA, Physical Security Association, and InfoSecurity Magazine, which is part of the InfoSecurity brand that Reed has. And so with those two entities and the 4 advisory board have essentially built out a conference program that will bring to life market conditions, predictions, the state of the Internet of Things, security, privacy, and regulatory issues around IoT. And then from a people of process track, you've heard me mention this several times, and this is really driven by the key knowledge and pushback that we've received from CISOs that this should not just be a technology-led curriculum. There really needs to be the people and process elements. So topics around the evolving role of CISOs, building security professionals of the future, the issues around staffing and skill sets, and so those will all be part of that people and process track. From a technology trend, it's really the focus is on combined visibility of the intelligence that comes out of physical security systems and logical cybersecurity systems. And the topics are a sampling of topics that you see here around cloud and IoT as really driving the industry. But behind the covers is really the role that video surveillance solutions bring as IoT in terms of smart sensors. The notion of exploring early use cases around connected car and looking at what does that mean from an issue of privacy and safety, and not just within the automotive industry, but really across industry, and taking lessons learned. A panel on security standards in support of IoT, and then the conversation around regulatory governance, and where is it today, and where does it need to, where does it have teeth, what's really coming out of those discussions from an early adopter, and early lessons. Again, all of these within the conference track, the focus here is to really give the peer-to-peer industry pulse of what's occurring and where successes are being materialized, and where challenges are really a part of due course of what's going to get solved and tackled next. Customer-centric case studies, and really there the focus is to bring in exciting case studies of smart deployments that have occurred, and you have a sampling of different industries here, and around smart cities, smart planning, smart transportation, industrial internet, and the power of physical security as smart sensors. So a very robust 2 days of learning, but the 2 days of learning are put in context again with the immersive show floor experience, meaning that within the sessions that happen, as many of you have attended the Expo at ISC West, the sessions happen on the same floor, and the traffic from the attendees of the sessions will be driven back to the innovation stage, to the Expo show floor. So within the agenda, there's time set aside for them to bring to life the lessons learned on the immersive Expo floor. From a conference track perspective, again, Security Industry Association, SIA, the PSA, Security Network, InfoSecurity are really the sponsors of the content that gets delivered. What you see here is in terms of how do you get involved. There's a link right on connectedsecurityexpo.com that has really the ability for you to fill out and submit your thought leaders and bring them into the panel discussions. The deadlines are coming up, but you have a notion here of the timeline and the schedule. And so speaking of how do you get involved, well, there's a variety of ways of getting involved, and really we're very excited by the response that we've received from the industry, from the vendor community, from the thought leaders. This is a highly relevant and timely topic. I think we're very fortunate that we have the operational footprint of ISC West to really bring this dialogue and this conversation to market in a timely manner. And so you have the opportunity, your organization has the opportunity to really get in on the ground floor as a founding exhibitor. There's a variety of different packages that are available. You see a sampling here. From a founding member perspective, it starts at $25,000, and that gives you access to the innovation stage. It gives you a variety of different typical conference promotional items from a branding and presence perspective on the website, in email promotion, social media, etc. The standard booth, the start initial lowest entry point is at $6,000, so it is a fairly competitive ability for you to join and participate from a booth perspective. Beyond that, there's also the opportunity to participate in, without a booth, and essentially sponsor the educational, the thought leadership tracks. That's both from a track sponsorship, conference track sponsorship, but also this notion again of sponsoring and giving your organization the ability to use Connected Security Expo as a launch platform for your solutions, and really articulating something that you might be launching today that resonates with the conference agenda, to really talking about what you're seeing in the industry within your customers, and where your roadmap is going moving forward. So again, multiple ways of really taking advantage of being a founding exhibitor in year one of many for Connected Security Expo as part of your what you're already doing with ISC West and your strategy of reaching CISOs and their cybersecurity teams in context of your solution offering. So I'll turn it back over to Sherida. I suspect there's some questions that have come in, and we'll be happy to spend the rest of the time answering your questions. Again, I want to personally thank you for making time today to really learn about what's being planned, and I strongly encourage you to reach out and engage the ISC West events team, get your questions answered, and let's figure out how we can make you part of this event.
Thank you, Christian. That was very informative. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. For everyone that's still on the line, if anything sprung to mind while you were listening to Christian, you are more than welcome to type it into the questions box on your control panel, and we'll field those questions right here live. If it's something that we can't answer on the spot for you, we will contact you after the webinar and get you more detailed information. So Christian, we did have two questions that came in already, and the first one is asking about the difference between the innovation stage and the education tracks. Can you give us a little bit more detail on the differences in the education content between those two locations?
Great, absolutely, and great question. Again, if you think of the typical conference track curriculum that attendees want to experience, the top of their priority list is typically wanting to attend a conference and seeing and learning from their peer, from the industry thought leaders. So if you think about the program of people, process, and technology, the analyst content, that's happening within the conference track. It's 2 days of sessions, typical curriculum where you sit down and you experience panels discussing different topics and issues that are relevant to the conversation, with an emphasis again on use cases and not so much an emphasis on product or solution overviews. So that said, what we also heard from the attendees is they really wanted to experience what's new from a technology perspective, from what's about to launch, and see demos, interactive demos, immersive experiences. And so with that, we made a conscious decision to host the innovation stage on the Expo show floor, and that is a sponsored aspect. So all of the solution providers will be able to select a sponsorship and then take the stage and provide a product-centric, solution-centric demo experience roadmap from the perspective of where the vendor sees the market evolving and where their roadmap and technology is solving problems today and challenges today and tomorrow. So it is really the opportunity to essentially have your cake and eat it too, in terms of the attendees of wanting to have a conference track that is peer-to-peer driven, and then also wanting to experience and showcase different innovations that's taking place and really see the technology in action.
Thank you, Christian. So we have a lineup of questions that have come through. So if you're still on the line, feel free to continue submitting, and we'll get through as many as we possibly can live. And if we don't answer it live, we will reach out to you directly after the event. So second question, Christian, well, actually the second one is an easy question that I can answer for you, and it's related to the archived recording of this webinar. And so just a reminder for everyone, we are recording live, and the link will go out to you as soon as we close the webinar. It's actually almost an automatically generated email that'll give you the link to the archived version, and you can forward that along as necessary. Third question, Christian, is about the demographics of the Expo. We have a couple of folks that are inquiring about who we expect to see at the Expo. Now, I'll preface that by saying that since this is the first event of Connected Security Expo, we don't have historical demographics to go back on, but can you give us a little bit more detail on who you expect to see joining us on the attendee side?
Sure. So if you think of from an attendee perspective, I believe there's a slide that talks about all the different organizations that are already sending their physical security practitioners, thought leaders to learn about the evolution and what's new and what's coming in the world of physical security. What we've seen again year to year over the last couple of years is an increase in their cybersecurity peers coming with them and spending time at ISC West. And so what we're driving for with this event and what our focus groups are telling us and showing us is there is a variety of CISO, of Fortune 1000 companies, and their cybersecurity practitioners that are already working with and closely working and looking to really enhance the collaboration and their understanding of physical security systems. So it is those forward-thinking teams that what we're trying to do this year is give them their own lens on that conversation. So instead of asking a CISO and a cybersecurity professional to just come into the ISC West show floor, which is very large and has a tremendous level of information and dialogue that's occurring, we're creating an experience for them that it's geared at physical security from an IT security lens, that's geared at all things around bridging logical and physical security, technology, people, process, and then IoT, and really having a security conversation around the role of a holistic view of how do you leverage physical security as endpoint sensors, how do you leverage the intelligence that's coming out of physical security system when you're considering smart deployment and IoT conversation. And that audience is, today, if you think about where do they go to get that knowledge, well, they can attend physical security shows like ISC West, and they are attending them. But it's a conversation that is crowded and noisy, and so we're looking forward to really drive that. They're also attending cybersecurity events, and we all know that there's a variety of security conversations that are happening in the market, including within the REIT security portfolio, but even beyond that, from an event, a forum perspective, there are a lot of different outlets. What isn't happening today, and what's unique about Connected Security Expo, is really looking at that intersection, that connectedness that needs to occur in support of leveraging physical security and logical security together to combat what is really a complicated cybersecurity threat and a moving landscape from bring your own devices to cloud to now Internet of Things. The worlds have become more connected, and so the focus here is to really drive that conversation based on that audience.
Thank you, Christian. Now, we had a couple of other questions that came in that were a little bit more specific to the people asking them, so we did answer those offline. If there are any other general questions that anyone wants to put forth, we have time for a couple more. I'll give you a sec to see if anybody else wants to type into us there. Oh, all right, we got a couple more that came in.
Great.
Okay, so the next one comes to us from Brian, and Brian asks, with regard to exhibitors, are you looking for manufacturers or integrators or both?
Absolutely both, and the interest that has materialized to date has been across the spectrum, from everything from consulting organization to integrators to manufacturers of different solution offerings. And these solution offerings, on one end, they're historically been solution providers that have solutions today in VMS and intruder alarms and in physical access control systems that are innovating and pushing the envelope towards holistic cybersecurity integrations from an analytics perspective as well as from a solution offering perspective, to the other end of the spectrum of cybersecurity vendors that have solutions that work and that leverage physical security data. So to IoT-centric solutions of organizations that have, frankly, very, very unique offerings that at least to me, as having seen a lot of different security things, when I see their technology, I'm wowed by the innovation and the new factors. So it is the entire spectrum that will take place and grow year to year at Connected Security Expo.
Thank you, Christian. That was really helpful. With that, I think in the interest of everyone's time, I know that you all have other time commitments. I think we're going to wrap up for today. Christian, that was a very thorough and excellent presentation. We really appreciate you taking the time out to educate us all a little bit more on the exciting stuff we have planned for Connected Security Expo. Just want to remind the audience one more time that the webinar was recorded and will be available for viewing. So if you have other staff members or colleagues that didn't get to join us, we can send you that link after the webinar, and we will send it out to everyone who dialed in live. Also remember that there are various ways and various custom options that you can take advantage of to get involved in Connected Security Expo and join us for the first year of the event. We have booth space and various sponsorships, all of which can be tailored for your organization's specific needs. So if you have any interest or any additional questions on that, you can certainly reach out to Christian directly, and his contact information is still up on the screen. And we'll also follow up with you after the event. So with that, again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to listen in and join us for more information on Connected Security Expo. We look forward to speaking with you in the next few weeks and then seeing you all in person at Connected Security Expo, which is taking place in conjunction with ISC West, April 6th through the 8th at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.